Hello everyone and welcome to my introduction on how to cook good ground beef. So, in order to cook really good ground beef, something very popular and very delicious that can be the main event to a variety of different cultural dishes and be the main source of protein to things like nachos, burritos, soups, salads, sandwiches, quesadillas. There's lots of different ways that you can incorporate ground beef into a wonderful, delicious meal. The first step, or the first tip, into good ground beef would to make sure that you get ground chuck. It is the best recommended meat for good ground beef, considering it is a tender part of the cow coming from the shoulder and has the highest lean to fat ratio. Therefore, it becomes juicy and tender while cooking it. So the first step to cooking ground beef would be add a capful of olive oil to your pan. And then I like to add garlic salt with parsley to the oil after placing it into the pan. However, you could use nothing, or you could also add salt, just regular salt. After that starts to heat up, you then would add your ground beef to the pan, flattened. If beforehand you're making burgers, if that's what you're planning to make, you would prep your patties into balls in your hands while the meat's uncooked, and then flatten those patties so that they become burger patties. After you place your meat into the pan, and you leave it in the pan for about 4 minutes untouched. So the recommended total cooking time for ground beef is about 6 minutes. You don't want to overcook your meat. That is the biggest tip. Do not overcook your meat, otherwise it'll dehydrate, lose all its flavor, all the juices that are building up as you cook will totally diminish if you overcook your meat, and then your meat will be just dry. And we don't want that. We want it juicy, we want it to have flavor, we want it to be tender. So therefore, do not overcook it. Keep it between 4 to 6 minutes when cooking. And yes, leave the meat in the pan for about 4 minutes untouched. No moving around, no nothing. Therefore, it adds a nice crust to the top of the meat, but still tender in the middle, making it juicy and nice and delicious and delectable for your meal. After that heats up, at about 6 minutes when it's golden brown, you can start moving it around and it is done. Take it out of the pan, add it to nachos, burritos, soups, wraps. As I mentioned before, there's a variety of different ways and variety of different cultures that incorporate ground beef for extra protein, flavor, and just a lot of fun to the meal. So first off, second off, I've already now given you a gist of how to cook the ground beef. I'm going to show off the different seasonings that you can use in your ground beef. So after you've placed the ground beef in the pan and you're leaving it sitting in the pan, being untouched for that 4 minutes, you can add other seasonings, not just the salt that you added to the oil, but you could add more garlic salt with parsley. You could also do some garlic powder. Powder is different than salt. They have different textures and different beneficiaries when adding them to your food. You can also use some kind of Cajun seasoning. I love to add just a little bit of Cajun seasoning. So that too, when it comes to seasonings, you want to measure with your heart. You want to measure to what is desired to your taste buds and your palate of desired flavor. If you want it to be really spicy, you would obviously add more of this. The reason why I like to add this Cajun seasoning is it has a blend of different spices, including celery seed and extracts of paprika, as well as red pepper. So that kind of creates this kick of enhanced flavor when I use these types of seasonings. Here's another brand that I have, New Orleans Cajun Seasoning. So that one was just a few ingredients. This has like a couple more. It also has onion, but it also has paprika as well. If you are really somebody that likes the enhanced flavor of that smoked paprika, you could also just add a little bit more to your blend of spices and seasonings. You can even add some white pepper. White pepper is really wonderful with red meat. Brings out a lot of flavor. Obviously, salt and pepper are best friends. They go together in most foods and will bring out extra flavor into your food. Therefore, those are the seasonings that I recommend. Salt and pepper. Again, white pepper, paprika, garlic powder, any type of Cajun seasonings, or just kind of like red pepper seasonings that you can find. Chili powder is a good one as well. You can also buy prepackaged bags of taco seasoning. So taco seasoning would really bring out that kind of like authentic, like traditional, like taqueria flavor to your ground beef if you're adding it to like tacos or like a traditional style burrito, maybe with some ground beef and beans and cheese. as well as garlic salt with parsley. I love garlic salt with parsley because parsley, I feel like, brings out a lot of flavor in red meat as well. Therefore, in conclusion, in order to cook the perfect ground beef, you want to make sure your meat is thawed. Place it in the pan with oil after it's heated up. Add your seasonings. Leave it untouched for 4 minutes. Then move it around for about 2. At 6 minutes, you are ready to place it with any type of meal that you're preferring it with. I hope that I explained myself well. I hope that everybody now has more knowledge on how to cook delicious and delectable and wonderful, healthy ground beef. Thank you. Thank you for listening.